All right. Okay, again, good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your, I know, very busy schedule to come to the meeting. I hope everyone received the agenda and the minutes. So the minutes should have caught you up on what we've been doing. We're still trying to find our niche, and I think we're working well toward that. So I believe everyone that's on knows everyone. Am I correct? Okay. All right. All right. So that is good. And if you had an opportunity to review the minutes from the last meeting, it kind of gave you an idea of what we're working on. We're working on trying to get promotional items together. And I sent out the buttons that Connie had provided to us, and only one person responded, or maybe I don't know, maybe two. But we will go ahead. I'm gonna just send them one more time to the people who are right here. And I want you to just select a couple of buttons that you like, and then so we can go ahead and start working on moving forward with that. So that's basically what we talked about. Um, so I'll move on to updates. The gun violence prevention meetings with the League of Women Voters with Florida, they are continuing, and I have not attended in the last couple of months, but I want to catch up on that. And I want you all to remember too that if you're interested in doing so, of course, those are open to you as well. So I do get the minutes from those meetings, and I'll send you that information also. But those are good meetings, but I just haven't been able to attend them. Um, they put out a document called Trigger Points, and it's got some good information that I would also like to share with you. And as we move forward with how we want to proceed. Uh, the next thing is the local gun violence alliance. That's the one that's here in Gainesville. That's made up of the city, the county, and Santa Fe, and community collaborators. You probably heard on the news, maybe, yeah. So they had another group coming in that was supposed to assist in a program to curb gun violence, and apparently they hit some kind of they hit some kind of hitch. There was
I
a
was
hitch.
at that meeting. I was
Were
on
you?
Zoom for that meeting.
Oh.
And the city manager, I mean, they went through this whole, you know, a whole bunch of presentation. And at the end, the city manager goes, "Well, we've never been invited." And she was kind of incensed that the city wasn't involved. And then the next thing I hear on the news is that company pulled out. And it's a pretty big grant. I mean, it's like a lot of money.
It was a lot of money, and they
Yeah.
pulled out.
So,
But then I saw another notification from I think it was in Jacksonville with that same company, and they hit some hits there too. That there was some what do you call it? Misuse of funds.
yeah. I mean, and yeah, that's what I'm trying to remember who was there with me that oh shoot, I can't remember what league member was there, but you're right. It was, I mean, so hard to know what's the right thing and what isn't, but it was very uncomfortable there at the end.
Mm.
Very.
So Candy, do you attend those meetings regularly?
I think this was the first one. I mean, I just thought it was a meeting to, of meeting of people who were interested in it. And so I attended it, and just to find out what, apparently this grant was a big grant. And so I didn't really know much about it. I was just attending to see what that meant. And it sounded like there were a lot of, I
Yeah.
mean, they have all these places that they do, and they have a lot of programs. I was, I just wasn't sure how they would make it local.
Right.
That
Okay.
was, I couldn't tell. you know.
Yeah. So I don't know where they're going to go from there, but we will continue to attend. Again, that's another meeting that I haven't attended in the last couple of months either. But I hope that the new year to get back on top of everything. And Candy, maybe if you're amenable, maybe we can find out if the one or the other can attend that particular meeting. And
Yeah, sure.
that
I
would be
mean,
helpful.
it's one of my big three, gun violence. So,
All right,
and
very good.
we certainly we certainly have a lot of things lately that tell us we need to work on it.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. Something happened just yesterday, didn't it?
right. Another,
Yes.
the 83rd school shooting in
Right.
America.
And
So
this year.
this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely is a problem. It's definitely a public health issue. And
But Gwendolyn, I'm sorry to interrupt,
go
but
ahead.
today I heard on the radio that homicides were down in Gainesville. I mean,
They are.
so I mean, and I'm feeling like that's a good thing, you know.
Well,
So
yeah, that
yeah.
is.
So, good news, bad news, but
Good news, bad news. But I
or
mean,
bad news, good news.
but it's still, yeah, but it's still an issue, and it's still, and suicide is still the
Yes.
number one cause of gun violence related issues. So we will continue to attend those meetings, and the purpose for doing that is to see again where we fit in, or what we need to do, or how can the lead uh what can the lead do in terms of whatever is going on locally to keep up with the local issues and so forth. So we'll do that. Any further comments or questions on that? Okay. So the next is the data collection report. Um, Diane DePerio has been working on that, but she said that we were gonna have it for this meeting, but there's been some additional data that she wants to update. The 2023 data came out, so she had the 2022 data. So we will have that by the next meeting in January, hopefully before then, and I will send it out to you all. Now, the purpose of the data collection is to, of course, know what's going on in our area, but to also know what we need to bring awareness about in terms of what the data says. And if we create the palm cards and so forth, we'll decide what information from those we need to add to them when we table. And also, we talked at the last meeting about maybe in the newsletter or on the website or on our social media on a monthly basis, putting or periodically putting something there about the issue of gun violence prevention. So we would use that data for that purpose. And anything else that you might have that we would decide to add. I'm really just trying to find a niche for the committee, things that we can do. It was sort of easy when we were, or easier when we were tabling with voter services because we were giving out the gun locks. But if we start to do things on our own, we would need to have that as well. Because I'm thinking that there probably won't be as much tabling in the next year or so for voter services as it has been. But as we see things in the community that relate to gun violence that we can be a part of, that we can be involved in, we need to do so. I don't, I can't hardly keep up with myself. So I did not make the listening post to hear what they were saying on the state level about the priorities. I'm hoping that gun violence prevention will continue to be a priority for the league. Um, and but I'm sure we'll find out exactly what that is in the coming months, what those are. But I still think it's still a priority for us and for Alachua County. So the report will be ready. She had it, but she wanted to update that. And right now I believe she's traveling to
She's in
California.
California, and she.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say though that once she gets that stuff, this is another opportunity, where the gun violence prevention and voter services was working together. maybe it's the thing where Speakers Bureau and gun violence. I mean, if we get the stuff going, I mean, I want to keep the league in, top of mind in the community. So
Of course.
whichever, whatever it is, whether it's healthcare or gun violence prevention or whatever, I think that, little short 15-minute things would be great. So,
Yeah, so that's our goal too. So
mhm,
as I said, we may not be tabling as much with voter services, but we still can table. We can piggyback with any other
mhm.
thing that the league is doing, but we can also piggyback with what's going on in the community and what's going on with the various partners. So when we know that there's an event, and I will rely on all of us to keep, when you see something, let us know, and maybe we can get that out there. And it's not gonna be left just to the five of us uh to do that. So, then that's when we'll go into the membership and start to say, hey, we need some help tabling who's available. We do that sign up genius, get with Janice on that, and go from that point. So but I really think Sheila could handle most of it, but I'm just gonna see whether maybe we can.
I will also say that one of the best things that you guys did was when you and Rebecca Darnell presented at Oak Hammock. I think I mean, partnering with that group is big.
Oh yeah,
So,
I'm a member of Moms, and I
mhm.
want to continue that as well. So again, so the thing that's kind of slowed us down a little bit is, well, the election that just happened, and then the holidays came along, and so now as we start, this is obviously our last meeting of the year, but we need to start thinking about how we get back into the swing of things, and I think starting in January, if we can do that and start to reach back out. I'll reach back out to Moms and the other organizations and see what we can do. But yeah, we want to definitely keep it on the forefront. But I think the election took up all of our time and all of our emotions. So we were kind of wiped out after that was done, because I think we did everything that we felt we needed to do in terms of making sure people were educated and had were equipped with the proper information, and that took a lot. And so now we're recovering in the holidays. Any thing about that? So we'll work on that. So in the next is the county grant proposal. So in the meantime, as we were not meeting, I found out that there was a grant that was available. So I thought, well, maybe we can apply for that grant. And I asked Diane to help write that up, because that's what Diane does. She likes to do that. So we did. It is not. I'm not doing anything outside of what the committee would want to do, but we there was a time frame involved, a deadline that it needed to happen. So we went ahead and put in something for that, and the focus on that is it had to be in by December 11th. So we went ahead and did that. Now, if we decide that we can't do this, we can always back out of it. But we don't even know if we're going to even get the grant. Of course, that they're going to make that decision in January. And the way that with the proposed project is a community awareness campaign. Nothing that we haven't said we wouldn't do, that would be implemented by us. And we would kind of thinking that a focus would be on suicide, because that is the top cause of gun violence. And most of the community is focusing on street violence. And we wouldn't that this does not mean that we wouldn't uh, have active participation in that as well, but we're proposing to work toward awareness that involves suicide prevention. Now, I have the draft here. but what I don't have is that I was going to send to you all the other day. I don't have the final submission, so I want to send that to you so that you can then look at it and make any comments and those kinds of things. We're looking at saying that we would again trying to find a niche and trying to be able to do something. We would the campaign will work toward doing things in the community, tabling, maybe speaking, which would again involve the Speakers Bureau. But that would, I am a part of that. Diane is a part of that, and Candy is a part of that. So we didn't put anything in there that we weren't already a
Everyone's
part of.
welcome.
So what I'm saying, what I'm saying by that is not that we weren't just pushing, you all out there, knowing that we put that in there because we are part of it as well. So we would be willing to go out and do and speak in various places. I'm not going to go too much into this until I give it to you to actually look at, and then it'll give you all the detail. Yes, Candy.
One of the things that I understood from the board meeting was that it's one of those things where it's a big grant, but you get the money as you go. I mean, it's not like you get all this money and then you have to figure out you get money
Right.
doled out. And the other thing, and in one of the conversations they taught about having actually, how we had that event at Meet and Mobilize where we had people gathering together. There was food. There was all kinds of
Mm-hmm.
information. That seemed to have. Would you say was the case, Connie? And I seemed like there was some the idea of having education that also involved come in and have some food with us and eat and learn at the same time. So
Yeah. Well, if you feed them, they will come.
I'll come. I mean, if there's food, I'm
that
there.
that so yeah, so it does, it involves all of that, and it also involves sponsorships. If there's an organization doing something or an agency doing something that we can help out with, then it would involve that. It would involve going and speaking to groups about gun violence prevention and that. But we would have the resources. It would also involve purchasing gun locks because we're about to come. We have been we've been lucky in receiving the gun locks, but it's starting to get to the point where we're going to have to find other sources to purchase those. So in the grant we talk about that as well, the purchase of gun locks and making sure that we give those out. Yes, Connie.
And one thing you missed at the board meeting is that it looks like there may be a Santa Fe student who might be interested in helping with this. I have since reached out to Alan and now connected him with Janice, but he said that there's a student that's going to be between schools. So she's actually looking to get involved in something for the spring and summer, which seemed to really align with this campaign. So
Great.
just keep that in mind.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. And there's also a time frame as to when this money has to be spent if it's given to you, if you're awarded the grant. So I'm not gonna read it to you. I'm gonna send it to you once I get the final document so you can take a look at what we came up with. Okay? Is everybody okay with that? Okay. And so we were talking a little bit about the next thing, the buttons and ribbons inquiry. The buttons, I will send that out again. I'm just gonna send it to us and let us make a decision as to which buttons we want to go ahead. Because that's the other thing. We do have $500 that we have not utilized at all. And we can start using that. And as hopefully as opportunities come about, we can start to distribute that. So I'll send what Connie sent to me. I mean, what Connie sent to me back out, and you pick out a couple of buttons that you like, and then we'll see what Connie will decide how we should go from there in terms of making sure that we're staying within the parameters of what the league would have us to stay within in terms of and whether we can make those our own or whether we just leave them as they are. And the ribbons, Suzanne had sent, Suzanne, can you tell us about those ribbons?
Thank you. I was just giving some thought to, I know our church has used the, the orange awareness ribbons, which are not as specific or really as much fun as a button, which has a real message on it, a clear message. The only reason I mentioned the ribbons to Gwendolyn is because they are infinitely less expensive. So I think you can get 250 ribbons with a little like pin on them for about $70. And the buttons are generally maybe, what would you say, Connie? The least expensive might be $1 a piece, or
Yeah.
so, but with Gwendolyn's sharing about our resources are going to get a boost here possibly in January. So that was all. That was the only thing. I just wanted to make people aware that there was a cheaper alternative. So
Is there a
So-
reason we can't do both? Okay, go ahead, Connie, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say there are also suicide prevention ribbons. It's not specifically gun safety, but I don't know if we could somehow tie those together.
Yeah, yeah. So there is no reason that we can't do both or all three of those things, because those ribbons are I don't think they were even $70, Suzanne. I think they were less than that for that number. I think if I read correctly. So we can look into doing that. And that made me think of something else. You have the different months that have that are awareness months. So that as those come along, we can make sure we piggyback on that, do some kind of awareness campaign concerning those as well. So I'm going to suggest that we go ahead and purchase the ribbons and make a decision on the buttons. Make a decision which buttons and go ahead and look into purchasing some buttons as well, so we can start to accumulate things that we can give out at the events. And then in the meantime, we'll also be working on the palm cards that we can provide information. And Connie had also mentioned the movie, is it the documentary that you had?
Yeah, it was, now I'm trying to remember. I want to say that was the one that was about the NRA.
Yes.
And so it wasn't suicide prevention specifically, it was about the NRA. And I'd have to look it up again.
It was called Making a Killing: Guns, Greed, and the NRA.
Yeah,
that was what it was. So we talked about maybe finding a way to host a film. So what we need to do is we need to start getting real specific in what we're going to do, and taking out, somebody taking on responsibility for one thing or the other, or to serve as lead. So we do need to start moving on that, because we've been kind of high level and talking about what we wanted to do. Yes, Connie.
Do you know if there's going to be another Who's in the Box?
That was my next thing. So
Okay.
there is a Who's in the Box, and it's coming on Martin Luther King weekend. I have touched base with Ramona Jackson, who is the director of that, and told her that we were interested in playing a role. She said she needed to get with the sponsors and get back to me, because I even said we were interested in being a sponsor. I will be seeing her tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to her about that at that point. But they are showing that film on MLK weekend.
Now Ramona gave me the impression that she's working on a play about gun violence.
That's it. Who's in the
Okay.
box?
It's going to be on the 18th.
Right.
Okay.
Martin Luther King weekend.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ramona's last name again, Gwendolyn?
Jackson.
Jackson.
And it's
Thank you.
ROMONA.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what is Who's in the Box?
That's the film.
Oh, it's a film, but she told me
Not
it
the
was a
film.
play.
That's the play. That's the play.
Oh, okay.
The play, and it's based on who's in the box, who's in the casket, basically,
Oh, okay. That's the name
and
of it.
why? Yeah, and
She
what
didn't tell
happened?
me the name of it.
Yeah, and they showed it. This would be about the third or fourth time that it's been shown. I mean, not, I keep saying shown, but that the play has taken place.
Well, and wasn't it a sequel? The last one?
Yes, there was a sequel. Yes,
it followed up.
Yeah. So Ramona is a woman who is very, very she just does a lot of things too.
A lot.
And she is so she writes plays and those kinds of things. And she and I serve on the Education Foundation board. So like I said, I'll be seeing her tomorrow, and I'll pursue that more with her as to where we can fit in for that showing, whether that's tabling or whatever. And I can say that I can be there if we
Today
can.
is her birthday.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Mhm.
Didn't know if you knew that.
So you
Yeah.
think, do you know where it's going to be shown?
Pecan Young.
Okay. So maybe we could, encourage our members, maybe provide some food or,
Yeah.
and bring some ribbons, like like Susie said.
That's what so I'll talk to her tomorrow, and I'll tell her that we're willing to play a role in that activity. And
The cool thing about the ribbons is that my guess is you can put the League of Women Voters of Alachua County on it. Is it a customizable one, or is it just one that's already been made?
it's already been
It's
made.
just the folded orange ribbon. I'm sure you've
Like the
seen.
breast cancer ribbon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I got you. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I was thinking we used to have like pep ribbons, that had little things printed on it. You just wore it, and it was pretty throwawayable, but I thought it would be cool to have our logo and some message, and
Absolute,
stuff.
no, that would be absolute, that would be wonderful. That could probably be quite a bit more.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're right.
That's
Yeah.
available.
That's
And,
gonna be on the buttons though. It's probably gonna have our logo will be on the buttons.
I think that's
Um,
important if we're really gonna.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But again, we're just trying to get in and start to do some things. So we will have it on the buttons though. And so our first or our next event could be working with Ramona and others in doing this in participating with the play.
And that date was again
It's January 18th.
January 18th. Okay, I'm gonna put it on my calendar.
real quick, I wanted to ask Connie, I wasn't familiar with the suicide prevention ribbons. Is that a particular color, Connie?
It looks like it's two colors.
Okay, well, I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
I just Googled it.
I
and It
thought
looks like
that
it's
was a
a
great idea. Yeah,
it's
great idea.
teal and blue or something. It looks like it's two colors. And I was trying to look, is our next meeting before or after that
Our
event?
next meeting is the 21st.
Okay, so after.
Yeah, it's after. So we would probably be talking via email or if we needed to have a quick
Okay.
call meeting in order to
Yep.
figure out.
Okay.
Soon as I figure out with her, then I'll make sure that you all know.
Can I bring up something that was brought up at the board meeting?
Sure.
And this is a big thing for Elaine Francis, and she was very clear, and it's true that there's very little data about, how children are affected and, what's the data? And I think and I think she kind of asked Diane to kind of look at what's the local data for gun violence, what's the local, and I think this is important if we're going to stick with suicide, how prevalent is it in Alachua County? And so
That's what she's working on.
yeah, that's well, she didn't have those numbers when we were talking at the board meeting, but I really am grateful that she wants to do that, because I think the nationwide data doesn't always mean Alachua County data. It doesn't always connect with some people.
Correct.
So,
but the data that she's working on is Alachua County.
Very good.
Yeah,
excellent,
that's the
excellent.
Yeah, we have no use for. I mean, we do have use for national data,
but
but we're more geared
Perfect.
toward local. That's
Good.
we're looking at the Alachua County community. So that's what we plan to use. And we are going to have a focus on suicide, but we also going to focus on the street violence. I mean, we're
Okay.
not going to not do things concerning street violence as well.
Great. I'm really happy about that, because I like you said, suicide is a big deal, and it has also to do with healthcare and mental health care. So yeah.
Right. And we wanted to find, I think most of the people who are applying for the grants are applying in terms of street violence. So then we bring a different spin to it, and maybe that was the idea behind that. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Connie?
I just wanted to say, if we're going off topic, that it is now the 1-year anniversary of this committee. Our first meeting was December of last year.
Oh, wow. It sure
Congratulations.
was. We made it through. Very
I'm just
good.
so grateful. I'm just so grateful that it's a committee, and I thank you, Gwendolyn.
You're welcome.
Really
And
deal.
I didn't even know I was creating a committee until it happened. I volunteered to go to a meeting. See what happens when you go to a meeting?
That's the best kind of committee.
That's the best kind, yes. And so I think it was good as a reflection that we first focused on the listen and learn to see where things were in the community and to figure out where our partners are and so forth. And then we started our action plan. And of course, I think we've done well as to where we are right now. We probably could have been a little bit further, but we did have some other stuff going on. And that took up most of all of our time. And so now we're back, and we're going to make sure that this committee is noticed and that we do some things. I do encourage you to attend that Alliance meeting. I also encourage you to attend the Florida meeting. And I will send that as well to you as to when it occurs. I can't, let's see if I can see when. It is on a Wednesday. It looks like it's well, I don't know that this was the regular meeting, but it was on December 11th, which was the second Wednesday in the month, but I don't think that's the regular meeting, but I'll get you that as well. And there's also a conference coming up on gun violence prevention and health issues, and it's free virtually. So I'm going to send you that too. And that's February 22nd. And so I'll send all of that, and I will remember to do it because I'm gonna do it as soon as I get back from dinner. And so is there anything else? Well, what I do, there's about 45, 50 people who said they're interested in the gun violence prevention committee. And I send that out every time I send out a notice of meeting. I send it to everyone, and I know how that works. I do understand that, but I want to say that I really appreciate those of you who are here every time and help us to move forward in what we need to do. And I think that with that 45 or 50 or however many that I put in that group, when we get ready to start going out, then I'm gonna really start touching on them and saying, okay, maybe you can't come to the meeting, but maybe you can help us with tabling, or maybe you can come to these events, and that might work for them. So thank you.
Well, happy holidays to
Right.
all of you. Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
Happy
Happy New
holidays,
Year.
and we will meet
Happy
again on the
holidays.
21st, but in the meantime, I'll get you everything I said I would, and I will also work on the event coming up on the 18th.
Okay, good.
All right.
All
All
Be
right.
right.
safe.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye.